Yeah, looks good.
Up. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. We are very happy with Ochain to meet you again for this third session of the series of webinar dedicated to SENS Guidelines version 3. Today, it's the last session for the first topic on the updates within the SENS guidelines within the modules. And the next sessions will cover the second topic, which is the new MDC tools. For today, let me see if I can remove this. No, okay. Okay. For today, we'll first look at the standard SENS questionnaire for children under 5 and for women from 15 to 49 years. Then we'll continue with the most important updates within the pre-module. We'll see the household definition according if we use progress for sampling, the new recommendation for sampling, the new questions added within the SENS questionnaire and related to ethics. Then I would like to quickly present each tool associated with the pre-module because those tools are very helpful and some of them must be used when conducting a SENS V3 survey. After that, we'll see the key comments, analysis comments to be used for data analysis for full SENS survey. Using AP-Info7, and we'll finish the session today with the presentation of the new SENS website, including the data dashboard. The SENS mapper will be presented in session 6 because unfortunately we won't have enough time today to present it. In session 6, we'll also add in our agenda a short demonstration on how to use AP-Info7 for data analysis because yesterday during the presentation of session 3 in French, some of the participants asked for that. So our agenda is pretty busy for today, so we start with the presentation of the new SENS questionnaire for children under 5. The questionnaire starts with section Child 1, collecting general information for all children from 0 to 59 months, or for children from 6 to 59 months if the IYCF module is not included in your survey. In this section, we have the ID number under 5 present in the household. So in MDC surveys, the ID number is automatically generated for each household, starting at 1. Then we have the consent. Was consent given for conducting the interview and the measurements. Then we have the first name of the child. The first name is recorded to facilitate the interview process. The first name of the child will appear in the next question on the smartphone. This was added to avoid confusion for the respondent, but also for the team leader if you have several children under 5 in the household. Then we have the question about the sex of the child. The sex of the child is recorded as M for male and F for female, like in the ENA software, because after we'll use the ENA software to analyze the anthropometric data. Then we have a new question, which is, do you have an official age documentation for the child? If the answer is yes, the exact date of birth with the day, the month, and the year of birth will be recorded from either an HAPI card or child health card or birth certificate if available. And if the answer is no, therefore there is no proof of age available, the age of the child will be estimated in months using the calendar of local events. In surveys using MDC, if the birth date is not available, the age in the age in month is automatically calculated. After this section, we have section Child 2. It's a new and optional section. This section concerns the time of arrival of the child in the camp or in the country of asylum. You know now that this question or this section will only be included if the survey is being carried out in settings with recent or new influxes of refugees, and there is a suspicion of different nutritional status among these new refugees. It's the same thing in the demographic questionnaire. Normally, GAM prevalence should not be disaggregated by time of arrival unless that was planned during sample size calculation with a stratification. However, it can be sometimes justified to present GAM by time of arrival with two categories, new arrival versus older stayers, but it should be done only if the precision is good enough in the disaggregated groups. Okay. We have section child 3. This section will be administered to all children between 6 and 59 months. So again, if you are in a survey using MDC methods, if the IYCF module is included, this section will be automatically skipped for all children not eligible based on age, so for children under 6 months. Child 3 begins with a question on the presence or absence of the child. We want to know if the child is currently present in the household. If the child at the time of the survey, sorry, not present in the household, then all questions relating to anthropometric measurement will be automatically skipped if we are in a survey using MDC methods again. So this question was added to simplify the review of the questionnaire at the end of the day by supervisor and the survey manager. You will know that if you have no data for anthropometric measurement, it's because the child was absent and the child was still absent when the team did the revisits. So if a child is absent or a woman is absent, the team leader should record this information in the data control sheet and determine the time to return on the same day. They should revisit an absent individual up to 2 times if it's possible, every day or before to leave the survey area. But if at the end the child or the woman in the same thing is still absent, okay, with this question we know, okay, it's not a missing data. The team leader didn't forget to enter the data. It's because the child is absent. If the child is present, his or her weight will be collected. Then the question to know if the child was dressed with clothes for the weight measurement will appear if included in your survey. You remember that this question is optional. After that, you have child length or height, and the new question to know if the child was measured lying down or standing up. This is also a new variable in SENS v3. After that, you have the clinical examination for bilateral edema and MUAC measurement in centimeter or in millimeters, depending on the context. When all anthropometric measurements are recorded, and before to continue with the interview and the next question, a new quality control was added to the questionnaire to avoid aberrant data and guarantee high quality data for anthropometric measurement. Now in MDC surveys, the smartphone will automatically calculate the nutrition indices and look at the values entered for weight, height, MUAC, edema, and for age. And if we have some aberrant data, or if the child is categorized as suffering from severe acute malnutrition, a message asking to do again all anthropometric measurements and to assess again the age of the child will appear on the smartphone. So this quality control was added to prevent the presence of WHO flags in the anthropometric data, except eventually for a real SAM child. So this is new, and it's very, very helpful to have at the end high quality data for anthropometric measurement. Still in section child 3, after the anthropometric measurement, you have the questions related to the enrollment in the nutrition treatment program and the new about BSFP coverage. The question are CH16, is the child currently being treated in the nutrition program for malnutrition? Yes, the child is in the targeted supplementary feeding program, or yes, the child is in the therapeutic feeding program. Of course, here you'll have to adapt the name of the nutrition program to your context. And the nutritional commodities provided in the TSFP and TFP should be shown to the respondent. CH17 is the child currently enrolled in the BSFP. In MDC surveys, this question is automatically for the children not eligible for the program based on age. For example, if the BSFP is only for children aged from 6 to 23 months, this question will not appear if it is a child who has 24 months or older. After nutrition programs coverage, we have the question relating to the coverage vaccination, coverage of supplementation in vitamin A in the last 6 months, and deworming coverage if a campaign was carried out in the last 6 months. For vaccination, you know that this question should be asked only to children aged from 9 to 59 months. So again, if you are in a survey using MDC method, this question is automatically skipped for all children from 6 to 8.9 months. For deworming coverage, usually this question is only asked children aged from 12 to 59 months. So like for measles vaccination, this question will be skipped if the child is not eligible based on age. These questions are not complicated, so we continue with the question regarding the 2-week period prevalence of diarrhea and the common practices used during an episode of diarrhea. You remember that these 2 questions about the use of ORS sachet and or zinc during an episode of diarrhea are optional, and that they should only be included in contexts where the prevalence of diarrhea is high. Here again, it is not complicated, so we continue. Then we have questions CH24 and CH25 for anemia. CH24 concern the unit of measurement for the MOQ devices. So this question will only be included if the MOQ devices used in the same survey have different units, for example, 3 in gram per deciliter and 3 in gram per liter. Otherwise, you will have question CH25 only to record HB concentration in the unit given by your MOQ. Before to continue, I would like to do a small quiz. So normally now you have the question, the 2 questions on your screen. The first question, a child presents hemoglobin concentration of 7.4 grams per deciliter is considered anemic, moderately anemic, severely anemic, or non-anemic. And after that, you have exactly the same question, but this time for a woman of reproductive age, of course, non-pregnant, with an HB concentration of 7.4. We want to know if she is moderately anemic, severely anemic, non-anemic, or simply anemic. So I can see that you are still answering to these two questions.
Hi, Moses, could you mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Okay. It's not done for all of you, but I can see that it's correct for almost all of you for the first question. A child with an HB concentration of 7.4 is considered as moderately anemic, and for the woman, it's severely anemic. Okay, so I continue. I wanted to ask you these two questions because now here it's a new thing that we have added in the new SENS questionnaire. Now at the end of the section child 3, we have the automatic referral for children with sign of acute malnutrition who are not enrolled in a nutrition program, and an automatic referral for children who have severe anemia. So for anemia, if the HB concentration recorded in the questionnaire is below 7.0 gram per deciliter or 70 gram per liter, a message will appear on the smartphone to inform the team leader that the child needs to be referred for severe anemia. For acute malnutrition, the smartphone will automatically calculate the weight for high death score and see if the child is below -2 or -3. And the smartphone will also look at the values of answer for MUAC, edema, and at the answer to know if the child is enrolled in a nutrition treatment program. A message will appear on the smartphone to inform the team leader that the child needs to be referred for SAM or for MAM when the child is not already enrolled. So all children with signs of acute malnutrition and or severe anemia will receive a referral form to be orientated to the nearest health center or nutrition center. And in the questionnaire, you will just have to adapt the admission criteria to the survey context. Usually it's almost everywhere the same admission criteria for children, but for women we can have some differences. So with the integration of those automatic referral now, there is no need to train the enumerator on how to read the weight for high table and to use this table during field work. Also, we are sure now that all malnourished and anemic children encountered during the survey will be referred or treated for anemia. If you look now at the bottom of this slide, you can see that after section child 3, we have section IYCF1, breastfeeding status of the child from 0 to 23 months, part 1. After the automatic referral for malnourished and or anemic children, it's the beginning of the IYCF questionnaire. There is no need to review the IYCF questionnaire during this webinar because there is no change in the question between SENS V2 and SENS V3. The questions are from the WHO guidelines, so they are standard in all IYCF survey. We can just mention that in MDC survey, the IYCF section will be automatically not presented for the children not eligible based on age. So for those who have 24 months or older. Now we'll have a look at the new SENS questionnaire for women, which is not very, no, sorry, yeah. Like for children, the woman questionnaire starts with a section collecting general information for all women aged from 15 to 49 years. It's section WM1, where we find first the ID number. The ID number is automatically generated in MDC surveys, for each household starting at 1. Then we have the question for the consent. Was consent given for conducting the interview and the measurements? The measurements here are the MUAC measurement if included in your survey and the HB concentration for all non-pregnant women. Then we have the first name of the woman and her age in years. We continue with section WM2. The first question in this section, the WM5, provides information on the physiological status of the woman. Are you pregnant? Yes, no, or don't know. If the woman is pregnant, then we'll have the following two questions, WM6 and WM7. Are you currently enrolled in the HANSI program? And are you currently receiving iron folate pills? If it's not pregnant, after WM5, we go directly to question WM8, where we want to know if the woman is currently breastfeeding. If the woman is currently breastfeeding, then we'll have the next question, WM9. Is the child you are breastfeeding younger than 6 months old? Then we have WM10, about enrollment in the BSFP. Usually this question is only asked to pregnant and lactating women with an infant less than 6 months of age. And in MDC survey, this question is automatically skipped for the woman not eligible for the program based on their physiological status. The woman questionnaire ends with MUAC measurements and recording of HB concentration for all non-pregnant women. I will remind you that the measurement of MUAC remains and that this measure will be taken only if results are needed for a baseline survey, a baseline assessment, or for program monitoring purposes, usually where there is a BSFP in place for women. Like for children, we have question WM12 about the unit of the MOQ device used by the team, if different MOQ devices are used by the survey teams. Then you have question WM13 to record HB concentration in the unit given by the MOQ devices. At the end of the woman questionnaire, like for children, automatic referral for women with sign of acute malnutrition and for women with severe anemia were integrated. Of course, here, the automatic referral for women with sign of acute malnutrition will be included in your questionnaire only if MUAC measurement was done and if there is a specific program for malnourished women in place in your survey area. If there is no program, of course, why we should give a referral form to those women where they will go. Here, the MUAC cutoff value under which a woman will be admitted to the nutrition treatment program, if this kind of program exists, is to be adapted to your survey context. For example, we discussed about that last time. The woman needs to be referred because her MUAC is below 230 millimeters or below 210 millimeters or below another value. In the standard SENS questionnaire, by default, all pregnant women or lactating women with an infant under 6 months old and with a MUAC below 230 millimeters will be referred. But after, you can change the cutoff value for another value. If we look now at WM50, you know that all women with an HB concentration below 8 will be considered as suffering from severe anemia, so 8 the cutoff value for the referral. And that's it for the presentation of the new SENS questionnaire for children and for women. We are at the end of the questionnaire for women. We'll go again through them with Claudia during session 4, our next session. During this session, we'll see how to adapt the SENS questionnaire to your survey context. So the coding phase with the XLS files to transfer your questionnaire to your smartphones. We continue with the review of the most important dates in the SENS pre-module. But before that, we have this slide to explain what exactly the SENS pre-module is and what it contains. The pre-module can be defined as a quick reference guide focusing on the different steps for conducting a SENS survey from the planning phase to the dissemination of the survey results. The pre-module is divided into 16 steps, and for each step you have practical tips and recommendations for conducting SENS survey among refugee populations. For example, the steps are step 1, decide on the need for survey. Step 3, define the survey objectives. Step 8, design the survey. Step 9, obtain equipment and Step 10, design questionnaire. Step 11, select and train teams, etc. until step 16, which is about writing the final SENS survey report and the dissemination of the survey results. As mentioned during our first session, the SENS methodology and therefore the methodology presented in the SENS pre-module is based on the SMART methodology but extended for the purposes of SENS. But the pre-module is not meant to replace already existing survey manuals. So to avoid duplication, the user is referred throughout the pre-module to pre-existing material and on certain aspect of survey design and implementation, especially to the SMART initiative website. Because the SENS methodology is based on SMART for survey design and more precisely for sampling, the calculation of the sample size to be surveyed, of course, if it's not an exhaustive survey, but it's very rare to have an exhaustive survey. So the sample size is only based on the estimated or expected GAM prevalence in the survey area, and the calculation of the sample size is done using the ENA software. So the total number of households needed for GAM is the total number of households to be included in the survey. So all small details relating to sampling are very well explained in the SMART manual. So in the pre-module, you will not have whole details about sampling and about survey details. If you want more information about that, in the pre-module, you are recommended to have a look at the SENS material, at the SMART material, sorry. See what are the most important updates in the pre-module, and we start with the updates in step 8 on survey design, and more specifically with the recommendation for establishing the definition of a household. First, I want to give you the definition for two terms that are used within the UNHCR Progress version 4 database. For those who don't know what is Progress, it's the UNHCR's registration database for refugee population data. And in Progress V4, the version at the time of writing SENS guidelines version 3, a case and a registration group are defined as follows. So first we look at the definition for the registration group. A registration group could, is one or more individuals who are registered together. So for example, a registration group could be a family, or it could be a household registered together for assistance purposes. an individual must always belong to a registration group, and an individual can only belong to one registration group at any point in time. If now we look at the definition for the case, a case is used to record and track information about individuals undergoing various processes. Depending on the process, a case can be composed of one or more individuals. Case membership is independent from registration group membership. For example, a resettlement case may contain individuals from different registration groups. A resettlement case can also contain a subset of individuals from the registration group. Okay, so here you were able to read, so I hope it's clear. Now that we have seen the definition for a registration group and a case, we come back to our household definition for the SENS survey. As you know, there is no universal definition of a household to be used in a nutrition or health survey. However, a classic definition used in nutrition survey to define a household is a group of people who live together and routinely eat out of the same pot. For example, if two families share the same pot, they should be assessed as one household. In the pre-module, the recommendation on how a household be defined are as follows. If accurate and updated population lists are available from Progress for sampling, a household should be defined as it appears, so the registration group should be used as a proxy for household. So the registration group should be the basis for sampling rather than the case. Cases should not be used for sampling, okay? So again, if you have accurate and updated population list from Progress for sampling, a household should be defined as a registration group. Okay. If we use the population list from Progress and therefore your sampling is based on the registration groups, the household definition will be not the same depending on the different SENS questionnaires that are administered. Okay, maybe this is not very clear. Okay, let me explain again. For the child and woman questionnaire, therefore, for all data collected at the individual level and related to the anthropometry and health, anemia, and IYCF modules, all children and women from the households belonging to registration group that was randomly selected from the Progress list will be surveyed. There might be additional children and women who live together and routinely eat together, but belong to a different registration group. They should not be included in the survey for module 2, 3, and 4, so in the child and woman questionnaire. But for the demographic questionnaire and the household questionnaire, which includes all questions for food security, mosquito net coverage, and WASH, so for the 4 household-based module, whole household members who live together and routinely eat out of the same pot will be part of the survey. It is possible that you'll need to include people who live together and routinely eat out of the same pot, but who belong to a different registration. Okay, so for children and women, you use the definition of the registration group to define your household. And after, for demography and the household questionnaire with food security, WASH, and mosquito net question, you use the classic definition for the household. Only in the context where you use the population list for Progress for your sampling, so where you use the registration group as basis for your sampling. Okay, it's clear. So yeah, in SENS V3, the recommendation for sampling changed a lot. We saw last week the sample size requirement for anemia assessment for women and children, now the household definition. So when you'll implement your next SENS survey and especially during the planning phase and the writing of your survey protocol, we strongly recommend to read again this on how a household should be defined, and even you should read entirely step 8 on survey design and sampling procedure to be sure that you are following the new recommendation for sampling. Now maybe you are wondering why we have different definition for the household depending on the individual or household-based module. So there is 3 reasons for this. Firstly, it is to minimize the risk of major sampling of children and women in the survey. If the definition of whole members who live together and routinely hit out of the same port is used, you'll have an excess burden for the surveyed population, a waste of resources, and a greater fatigue among your surveyor. You'll have a lot of children and a lot of women to assess. Secondly, if the definition all members who live together and routinely hit out of the same port is used for the individual modules, and thus include more than one registration group, at the end you'll have very different demographic data that will be very different than from the data used to calculate the initial sample size for children and women. At the end you'll have a larger number of people. And thirdly, since the household module rely on information about how people actually live together and share their resources, it's better to use the classic definition instead of a registration group definition, which will not reflect reality. So it was the true reason for why we have now different definition for individual and household module if the registration groups are our basis for sampling. Now we'll see another things is how to decide on the sample size in terms of household for collecting the data from the different SENS modules included in your survey. We start with the modules based at the household level, so module 1, 5, 6, and 7. For the demography module, so for the administration of the demographic questionnaire with or without mortality survey, with any survey design, so whatever, if it is a cluster sampling or a simple or systematic random sampling, all sample household will be surveyed. For the food security, mosquito net coverage, and WASH module, so for the administration of the household questionnaire, with any survey design, half of the household should be randomly sampled for the survey. Therefore, we'll have a subsample for food security, mosquito net coverage, and WASH. Now, the recommendation on the sample size required in terms of household for collecting the data from the modules based at the individual level, and we start with the recommendation for children under 5. For the anthropometry and health module and the IYCF module with any survey design, all children within all of the sample household will be surveyed. Okay, there is no change here for that. For anemia, we saw the new recommendation last week. You remember, you'll have to select one of the scenarios depending on your survey design and on the total number of children aged from 6 to 59 months calculated with ENA and to be surveyed for anthropometry. You remember this table. According to the survey design, cluster sampling or SRS, you have 2 scenarios, 1 and 2 for cluster sampling and 3 and 4 for SRS. And the choice between the two proposed scenarios depends on the number of children aged from 6 to 59 months to be surveyed for anthropometry according to the sample size calculation made with ENA. Survey using a cluster sampling, if you have 600 children or less than 600 children to assess for anthropometry, all children in all selected households will be assessed for anemia. Same thing, but with 400 children for survey using a SRS. But if you have more than 600 children for anthropometry to survey in a cluster survey, or more than 400 in a survey with a SRS, no need to assess anemia in a whole household. The anemia assessment can occur every second household, for example. Half of the sample household should be randomly selected, and all eligible children found in this household should be assessed for anemia. Okay, now we continue with the recommendation on the sample size in terms of household for collecting women data. For the anthropometry module, so for MUAC measurement and BSFP coverage, the recommendation is to follow the same sampling method that for the assessment of anemia in women. And for anemia in women, you remember we have the choice between two scenarios. Scenario one, I don't want to read again the scenario, we saw this last week. If you are in the case of scenario one, what of sampling, half of the sample household should be randomly selected, and all eligible women found in this household should be assessed for anemia. In the case of scenario two, with any survey design, you like for anemia assessment in children. So to summarize using other terms, depending on the scenario chosen for the assessment of anemia in women, the woman questionnaire will be administered either to whole women in whole households selected for the survey, or to whole eligible women in only half of the households selected for the survey. For instance, you can say that in that case, the woman questionnaire will be administered every second household. And that's it for the new sampling strategy. But again, please, when implementing your next SENS survey, read again all this section in the pre-module, all specific details on survey design and sampling to be sure that you are following the recommendation for sampling and the recommendation for the sample size in terms of household. It's not very complicated, but it's difficult also to explain everything with 3-4 slides to be sure that it's clear and understood by all of you. So if it's clear, you can send your question through the chat or so by email, and of course we can help you with your survey protocol to be sure that you are following the recommendation for sampling. Now we look at the recommendation if you want to implement an exhaustive SENS survey, so with sampling, so where all households without exception will be surveyed. So to conduct an exhaustive SENS survey, the following condition must be met. Firstly, the total size of the surveyed population should be less than 2,500 people or less than approximately 600 households. And secondly, whole household within the survey area without exception will be surveyed. For instance, you have to be sure that the teams will have access to whole sections in the camp or to whole surrounding villages, neighborhood, if you are in the context of a SENS survey in out-of-camp settings, such as in the host community or in urban area. After, even if you carried out an exhaustive survey, so without sampling, it is recommended to follow the same recommendation for subsampling. This means, for example, that the household questionnaire for food security, mosquito net coverage, and WASH will be administered only in half of the selected household in the survey area and not to whole household. So just you have to remember what are the criteria with the total size of the surveyed population, and that for subsampling you do the same recommendation like if you have a sampling. Now, other topic will focus on ethical consideration when implementing SENS survey and see what are the different elements that were added or clarified related to ethics in the pre-module. We start with the informed consent to participate, which is systematically included in all surveys, regardless the type of survey. In SENS survey, the participate must contain the objective of the survey, explanation on how the participants were selected, explanation on what the information will be used for, inform that the survey is anonymous and participants' confidentiality will be upheld, communicate on the average duration of the survey process, explain what are the measurements that will be carried out and on who, especially when anemia assessment is included, etc. You know that. So when the team leader introduced himself or herself, presented his or her team, and explained all this, he or she must obtain the informed verbal consent from the household head or from another adult member of the household before to start the survey. The verbal consent is included on the first page of the paper version of the full SENS questionnaire, and it will appear on the smartphone when the interviewer will open the demographic questionnaire, which is the first questionnaire to be administered in the selected household. The household as a whole will decide to participate or to not participate. And if they agree to participate, then each individual should be given the opportunity to agree or decline him or herself. This is why we have at the beginning of each SENS questionnaire a question asking if the consent was given for interview, and for measurement when it's the child and woman questionnaire. Each child and each woman can decide to participate or not to the survey. What is new now? If your SENS survey is a survey using MDC method, you must also request the authorization to use a smartphone or a tablet to record data. This is mandatory now. You know that sometimes the use of this new technology can afraid certain persons. So if it is a survey using MDC method, consent to participate in the survey includes an authorization to use smartphone or tablet to record data. In addition, GPS coordinates of the surveyed household can be recorded to later create a map of the survey area and visualize certain nutrition indicators or food security indicators or WASH indicators or anemia and malnutrition prevalence, etc. This is something that we'll see during session 6 with the presentation of the SENS mapper. So if GPS coordinates are recording during the administration of the questionnaire at the individual level, so for children and for women, and at the household level for food security, mosquito net, and WASH, an authorization for registration of GPS coordinates of the household will be requested at the end of the demographic questionnaire. Okay, so at the end of the demographic questionnaire, you have the question, the consent for the use of the GPS, but the GPS coordinates are recorded not at the end of the demographic questionnaire, they are recorded at the end of the household questionnaire, at the end of the child questionnaire, and at the end of the woman questionnaire. At the beginning, we wanted to avoid to have 3 recording for GPS coordinates in the questionnaire, but because we have different questionnaire with MDC survey, at the end we have different database, and it was easier to have the GPS coordinates in each database to later create the maps. Now you have the extract from the demographic questionnaire with the 2 questions about the informed consent to participate in the survey. If you want to conduct a survey using paper-based survey, you will include question DM1A, was consent given for conducting the interview. But if you want to conduct a SENS survey using MDC methods, you'll include question DM1B in your demographic questionnaire, was consent given for conducting the interview using a smartphone or a tablet. If we look now at the responses, we have yes, the consent was given, no when it is a refusal, and absent if the household is absent. So if it is no, or if the household is absent, it's the end of the survey. Okay. After that, now here we have the consent for the use of GPS. Was consent given for taking the GPS coordinates of the household, yes or no? So this question is optional, and the consent is asked at the end of the demographic questionnaire. Below, ID9, it's the message that the smartphone or the tablet will indicate to the interviewer at the end of the household questionnaire and at the end of the child and woman questionnaires. So if you want to collect the GPS coordinates in your next SENS survey, just remember that the recording of the coordinates sometimes take a while. You have to be outside, of course, not under a tree, not both by a building. And it's true that when the weather is cloudy, it can also be a little bit long to obtain the GPS coordinates. So it is recommended maybe to not plan for too many households during the first days of data collection, to be sure that each team can have the GPS coordinates in 2-3 minutes, and after maybe you can increase the total number of households that the team should visit per day after 2-3 days if the recording works well for all your teams. Here again, you have this slide mentioning that now in the new SENS questionnaire for women, if it is a survey using MDC method, you have the possibility to integrate the automatic referral for children and women suffering from acute malnutrition or severe anemia. I don't want to talk about that again. Of course, if the anemia module is not included in your survey, or if the MUAC measurement for women is not included, you'll have to adapt your questionnaire, and especially those sections. We'll see next week with Sandra how to adapt those referrals depending on the context of your survey and on the modules that are included. Here, we are now in step 16, which is the last step of the pre-module, write and disseminate report. And in step 16, now we have a new table summarizing the currently available classifications and target for some key SENS indicators. Here you have the indicators for children from 6 to 59 months. For malnutrition, the prevalence of GAM and stunting will be classified according now to the new WHO and UNICEF classification released in 2018. And in this new classification, you have now prevalence threshold for overweight as well. But for underweight, we should continue to use the previous classification from WHO. In the new one, there is no prevalence threshold for underweight. They removed underweight from the classification and added overweight. Otherwise, the targets are mainly UNHCR targets, standard targets, but we We also have some targets from other international guidelines or from other agencies. For example, for the coverage of measles vaccination, the coverage should reach at least 95%, or for vitamin A supplementation, the coverage should reach at least 90%. In this table, after children from 6 to 59 months, we have the indicators for children from 0 to 23 months, so for the high YCF indicators. For the high YCF indicators, we have now UNHCR targets, and you know that these targets were developed with the support and analysis carried out by CDC using the high YCF data from 155 SENS surveys implemented those last year. Then for women, we have only one target related to the prevalence of anemia. The prevalence of anemia among women will be considered as high if the prevalence is above 40%. And this is the prevalence threshold from WHO. And UNHCR aims not to exceed the threshold of 20% for the overall prevalence of anemia in women. There is no change for that here. This table ends with the indicators relating to the total population. So at the level, for the mosquito net coverage and WASH, the targets to be reached for the mosquito net coverage are that at least 80% of the household have at least one LLIN, and that the average number of persons per LLIN does not exceed 2 persons. There is no change also for mosquito net. And the target values for WASH indicators are the UNHCR WASH program standard. And you can see that for each indicator, there is a target value depending on whether it is an emergency or a post-emergency context. So this table that you can find under step 16 will be helpful when you write your final survey report and discuss the survey results. For the interpretation of your results, you should refer to this table and see if you are close or very far from the targets. Before to present all tools associated with the pre-module, I also wanted to inform you that the addendum for the implementation of a SENS survey in out-of-camp setting was updated. This addendum was published in 2015 and updated last year. The SENS guidelines V3 are designed to cover most refugee camp emergencies and all stable refugee camp situations. However, adaptation is needed for use in urban and other out-of-camp settings. So this addendum is needed, provides updated information and additional guidance on conducting a SENS in rural or urban areas outside of camps. It addresses how to define, locate, and sample the refugee population in urban and rural areas, and how to adapt the questionnaire to suit urban and other out-of-camp settings. This addendum was developed based on experiences in Yemen. This is for your information. So do not hesitate to consult this addendum if you wish to conduct a SENS survey outside refugee camps. The addendum is also updated with SENS V3. Now we'll see all tools that are associated with the pre-module. Most of them were updated or improved, but also we have several new tools. So I would like to quickly present each tool that we have now, V3. Here you have the list of the tools that were already present in SENS V2, but all of them were updated or improved. So we have tool 1, survey budget. So you can use this to prepare your budget for the implementation of one or several SENS surveys. all budget lines are in this Excel file, for the planning with the technical committee to the dissemination of the survey results. You have all lines for the survey training, for equipment, including anemia equipment, vehicles, fuel, etc. And also the line for if you want to recruit a SENS consultant, everything is there. In this file, you have also an example of a SENS survey budget based on 4 refugee camps with a total of 6 survey teams to help you to elaborate your budget. Then tool 2, it's the standard terms of reference or TOR to be used for the recruitment of a survey consultant. Tool 3 contains the list of all SENS objectives per module, the primary objective, the secondary objective, and all optional objectives. So you may have to use this tool when you work on your survey protocol to determine which modules and therefore which objectives you want to include in your survey. Tool number 4, it's all SENS indicators per module and per target group. So like tool 3, this tool is useful at the time of writing the survey protocol, but also during analysis. Then we have tool number 7, which is a decision tree to help you to determine what is the most appropriate survey design to implement in your context. Tool 8, it's the data collection control sheet, a cluster control sheet, if you are in a survey using a cluster sampling. So this tool will be used by the team leader to record your refusal, absent household, the household that need to be revisited, etc. So we recommend to use this tool and to adapt it to the context of your survey rather than creating another data collection control sheet. Tool 9, it's an example of a standard SENS survey protocol using SENS v3. So again, we recommend that you use this example of protocol for your next survey. This protocol is the protocol that we used for the pilot survey in Tanzania last year. So it's based on SENS v3. Tool 10 will help you with all survey supplies. In this tool, you can enter the number of refugee camps or area to be surveyed, the number of survey teams, the sample size for anemia, for children, for women, etc. And automatically, you'll have the quantities needed for all your teams and for whole camps or survey area to be investigated. In this tool, the quantities needed for the survey training to practice, for example, with the MOQ, are also planned. So if you use this tool, normally you should have enough microcuvette or gloves for your survey and for your training. After that, we have tool 11, 12A, and 12B. It's the new SENS v3 questionnaire, the full SENS questionnaire. Tool 11, it's the full SENS questionnaire with all questions for all modules. You have the demographic questionnaire, then the household questionnaire with questions for food security, mosquito net, and wash, the questionnaire for children under 5, and at the end, the questionnaire for women. But without any instruction for the survey manager on how to adapt the questionnaire. If you want to see the instruction for each question, you have to look at the tool 12A. And 12B, it's also the full SENS questionnaire with all instruction, but this time with the mortality question integrated in the demographic questionnaire. You remember that from session 1. Tool 13, it's the job description for each team member, for the survey manager, the supervisor, the team leader, the interviewer, the measurer for anthropometry, and the HP taker. And tool 14, you know this tool, it's the participant and measure control sheet where the survey from the demographic questionnaire will be reported and where the team leader will record the anthropometric measurement and HB concentration. The team leader should fill one form in each selected household for the survey. So please, again, use this tool during your next survey. There is no need to create new tools. Everything is there. After I have tool 16, which provides some tips to follow during data analysis. Tool 70A, it's a very important and useful tool, because with this tool, you'll be able to generate all graphs that are recommended to be included in the final SENS survey report. After that, tool 19, 20A and 20B are example of good final survey report, but based on SENS v2. But you can still refer to this survey report to see how the methodology section should be presented, or to see how the discussion section or the recommendation are written or formulated. Tool 21 will allow you to obtain the weighted prevalence when, for example, you implemented SENS survey in 4 refugee camps and you need to know the weighted result for all camps together. So you can use this tool for that. And what is new in this tool is that you can now calculate the weighted means. It was not possible before. Then we have tools 22A and 23A, which are the template for the preliminary SENS report and the final SENS report using SENS v3. So for your next survey, you should use these two templates, and in the result section, you will just have to report the result in the table. Everything is there, all tables are ready. You just have to write your results in the cells. Everything is ready. So please use those two templates for your next SENS survey. No need to start from the beginning with a blank page in Word. Everything, all tables are already here to facilitate reporting. Tool 24A and 24B are two examples of preliminary SENS report, one in English and one in French. And to finish, we have tool 25, which is the SENS report checklist for the final survey report. So maybe you need to refer to this tool at the end when your final report is ready to be sure that all recommended sections are included. This tool may be useful to check the work of your survey consultant also. Okay, and now here we have the list of all new tools that were created when we were reviewing the SENS guidelines. Tool 5 provides example of information later to inform administrative and health authorities about the implementation of the SENS survey. Also, you have examples of later to inform and sensitize at the camp level and inform the community to be surveyed. Tool 6 will help you to define the timetable for the implementation of your SENS survey from the planning phase to the final stages with the presentation of the survey to partners, of the survey results to partners. Tool 15, it's a very important new tool. It's the standard operating procedure for SENS survey data management when conducting a survey using MDC method. So in this tool, you'll find recommendation on how to do daily verification of your questionnaire for consistency, completeness, and missing data in smartphone, but also recommendation on how to verify data in Excel database after data transfer are completed, recommendation on how to transfer your data from the smartphone to the survey computer, but also you'll find the steps to follow to transfer your data from Excel to ENA for the anthropometric data, advice on how to manage your final database, a lot of things related to the management of your data at different moments of the implementation of the SENS survey. Tool 17B, it's also to generate all graphs that are recommended to be included in the final survey report, but you'll use 17B instead of 17A if you have several SENS survey, if your survey covered several sites or camps, and you want to present the results for some indicators with all survey areas or camp within the same graph. So it's very useful if you want to quickly compare the situation between the different camp. Tools 22A and 23B, sorry, like for tools 22A and 22B, are the templates for the preliminary report and the final SENS report based on SENS V3, but this time with tables allowing to report the results for several survey area or camps. The tables included in these templates are designed to report the survey results for 3 survey areas, but after you can easily adapt all tables to report the survey result for 4 or only 2 survey areas. And finally, tools 26A and 26B are 2 examples of PowerPoint presentation for the presentation of the preliminary survey result to partners or final survey result to partners. We have 1 example in English and 1 example in French, so you can use these templates for your future presentation. For me, it was really important to present those tools because the SENS guidelines are not only 7 modules. You have all these tools to help you in all key steps. And normally there is no need to create other new tools or new form for your survey. So please use those tools for your next SENS survey. This will also contribute to the quality of reporting and quality of SENS surveys in general. All those tools are already available in the SENS website in both languages, in French and in English. Also, of course, all MDC tools were updated to be aligned with SENS V3, and we'll see the new MDC tools in more details during our next session, session 4, 5, and 6 with Carto-NG. And the tools for the anthropometry and health and anemia models were also revised and updated, and they are available in the SENS website. Okay, now we'll do some reminders regarding data analysis for SENS surveys. Firstly, we'll see what are the latest version for the recommended software to be used for data analysis. Then we'll do a very short training session on AP-Info7, and a longer demonstration with AP-Info7 will be done in session 6. To analyze a full SENS survey, you need to use 2 different software. You know that. Firstly, the ENA software, which is the software recommended by SMART. So the ENA software will be used to conduct all analysis related to anthropometric data for children under 5. And secondly, AP-Info7 software. So this software will be used to analyze all other data. Here you have the latest version for both software. For ENA, it's the version of January 11th, 2020. And for AP-Info7, it's version 7.2.4. But it is recommended to regularly check their respective website to be sure that you are using the latest version. Both software can be downloaded for free from the SMART Initiative website for ENA and from the CDC website for AP-Info7. This is why we recommend the use of these 2 software. They are available for free. They both come with user manuals and guidance material, and they take into account the complex design of cluster surveys for analysis. Now we'll see what are the key comments in AP-Info7 for SENS data analysis. Before that, I remind you that free guidance on the use of AP-Info and training material on AP-Info can be found in the CDC website. You have the link here. So for those who don't know very well or forget how we use AP-Info for analysis, you can also have a look at this material. And also, you know that at the end of each SENS module, in the annexes, you have the standard analysis with whole PGM codes, or analysis command to use to obtain the SENS indicators and all survey results. So even if you are not an expert in statistics and if you don't know very well how to use AP147, it is really not complicated, and you have whole PGM code in each module to help you. So to conduct your analysis using AP147, first you click on AP147 icon, and you will have the window that is presented here. Because AP147, it's not only a statistical software. You have different modules. There is a module to create a questionnaire, a module for data entry, a module to create maps. For the analysis, the module we are interested in is the classic data analysis module in red here. So to start your analysis, once AP147, you click on this module, and after that, this screen will appear. On this screen, on the right side here, you have three windows or boxes. First, on the left side, I don't know if you can see my mouse. I think you can see my mouse here. You have the command explorer. All commands that can be done with AP147 are listed here. After, on the right side here, on the top, you have a window named Output. This section of the analysis module shows the outputs or results the analysis performed. And finally, the window here at the bottom named Program Editor shows the program code or PGM syntax to perform each analysis. In the Program Editor, you can also write or copy-paste the PGM code included in each SENS module. So after that, to analyze a full SENS survey, you need to use only 12 analysis commands, and those 12 commands are listed here on the left side. You have read to read your data, so to import your database in AP147, usually using an Excel format. Write to export your database once the analysis is done. So in your database, you'll have the new variables defined for the analysis. The command define to define a new variable needed for the analysis. Assign, then record. Assign to add up the responses, the response codes, and record it's more to categorize responses. Select, it's easy to understand, is to select, for instance, a specific age group or a specific answer, like, for example, answer code 1 for the consent. Consent select is to go back to your original database with all recording. If, to define a condition for the analysis. And frequencies or complex sample frequencies to obtain the proportion for the SENS indicator, for example, the proportion of households using toilets, and means or complex sample means to obtain the means for certain SENS indicator, for example, of household using toilets. Means, for example, the duration of the in-kind food distribution in number of days, or the average age of women in years. In AP147, frequencies and means are analyzed differently for simple or systematic random survey as compared to cluster surveys. The statistic modules of AP147 analysis commands is used for simple or systematic random survey, while the advanced statistic module is used for cluster surveys. So if you are in a survey using a simple or systematic random sampling, you will use the frequencies and means command here. But if you are in a cluster survey, you'll use the complex sample frequencies and complex sample means that you have in the module advanced statistic at the bottom here. So if you use frequencies and means, because you are in a survey using simple systematic random sampling, you have the example here of the outputs generated. in the first table, you have the analysis to determine the coverage of vitamin A supplementation in the last 6 months in children aged from 6 to 59 months. If you remember the SENS questionnaire for vitamin A, the response, the cards are 1, yes, the child was supplementing during the last 6 months, and we have a proof. 2, yes, the child was supplementing during the last 6 months, but we have no proof. The supplementation was confirmed by the mother or by the person in charge of the child. And 3, no, the child was not supplemented or don't know. So for the analysis, you have the command here, FREC VIT A, FREC for frequency, and VIT A, it's the variable name for vitamin A within the SENS questionnaire, so within the final database as well. And if we look now at the table, we have in the first column the responses here, 1, 2, 3, and after the proportion for each response are presented in the third column here. The confidence intervals are presented in the small table below here. So in this example, the coverage of vitamin A supplementation within the past 6 months with card is 41.6%, and the confidence interval is ranging from 38.3 to 45.6. After below here, it's an example for the use of the analysis command means. Here you have the mean for the HB concentration in children aged from 6 to 59 months. So here the command is mean CHHB, where CHHB is the variable name for HB concentration in children. And if we look at the table, you have the average HB concentration in the green cell mean. The average is 11.2, and we have the standard deviation in the second green cell here. The SD is 1.32. In the final survey report, you should present the mean, the SD, and also the minimum and maximum values. So the minimum and maximum values are here in the second line of the table. But now, if you do the same analysis, but this time you are in a survey using cluster sampling, you can see that the APinfo command and output differ. Because we are now in a survey using cluster sampling, the analysis command is still FREC VIT A, but we had just after PSU var equal cluster. PSU stand for primary sampling unit. So the primary sampling unit in a survey using cluster sampling is the cluster. So we indicate with PSU var equal cluster to use the variable name cluster to take into account the complex sampling. In a cluster sampling, the household is the secondary sampling unit, you know that. If we look now at the result, this time the proportion and the confidence interval are in the same table, and the results are given for all responses one by one. You have the proportion and the confidence interval for 1, then 2, and then 3. So here the coverage of vitamin A supplementation with card is still 41.6. It's normal, it's the same result. But because we are using a cluster sampling, the confidence interval at the end is wider than with a simple systematic random sampling. Here, the confidence interval is ranging from 29 to 54.2, and before the confidence interval was ranging from 38 to 45, or I don't remember very well, but it's wider now. So it's the same thing for mean CHHB, but you had PSU var equal cluster, and the output is slightly different, but you have your mean here, your standard deviation, the lower and upper limit for your confidence interval, and the minimum values and maximum values just after. As mentioned earlier, in session 6, we'll do a short demonstration where I'll try to show you the other main command that we use to analyze the full SENS survey using different database from different SENS module. So no worries. If later you need some support for data analysis, we'll be there to help you. So it was a very short refresh training for AP147, but we'll do again a demonstration in session 6. And in any case, we are here to support if you need some help for data analysis. We'll now end this webinar with the presentation of the new SENS website. URL is indicated here, sens.unhr.org. The URL did not change between SENS v2 and SENS v3. And now Ochen is going to navigate through the SENS website. She will also present the data dashboard. Ochen, are you ready for that?
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much, Fanny. So I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay.
All right. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. So, like Fanny has just introduced, the link for the website is the same as the version 2. And to start from the first tab we have here, About SENS, and everything under this About SENS is a basic introduction to the whole SENS survey, what it is. So it's more facing to the team that is still considering whether we need to have a SENS survey to be done in your operation, which means that before start, you would like to know what it is this type of nutrition survey, what the basic resources you will need to conduct such a survey. And then if you have decided to, okay, we need a SENS survey, it moves to the next stage, the modules and tools, which can be found here for each module. So this is the same as by clicking here or by having click on the drop-down menu here. It is classified by module, and all the tools and the guidelines can be downloaded either in the PDF or the Word version down here. All right, also included the so just in case that some of you may still need to refer back to the version 2 for references, for the methodology or all others. All those version 2 documents are still available under the version 2 tabs here. And then for the mobile technology, basically it's a mobile data connection things. All the materials, including the training, including the tools, can be found under this part. So some of you may have already participated in the training before. That is for the MDC coding training, which have the webinars has been recorded and can be available here. So no matter whether you have participated the training before, you are welcome to find the training the webinars here. Sorry, I can't find it right now from my side.
Okay, the webinar for coding are under the menu training, data collection and supervision at the end, and also after the mobile phone questionnaires.
Yeah, you are right. Thank you, Fanny. So, yeah, and one more thing we don't have before and want to share with you is that for the whole global standardized questionnaire, which means it's the one you can deploy in COBOL in either XLS format or XML format are available here, and they are available in English, French, Arabic, and Swahili. All of them are available in one single Excel sheet. So you can basically download it and adjust according to your context and deploy, then change the setting on your on the data collection mobile phones on the language. So then we move to the training materials. So one thing for here is that the first half of the training materials are the one you can use to training the enumerators, your survey teams. That basically is the materials you could use for the training the SENS teams. And the high-level SENS training are those that for the SENS managers. So for example, for the webinars we have right now, we have all the recorded video and the slides available here. So you can feel free to come back and to view those videos after them. And like have been saying that all the modules and tools are also available in French. And all the French version of those materials can be found under the translation part. And for SENS questionnaire in words or PDF version, they are available in Arabic, Kiswahili, Somalian. All those languages are available under this tab in the SENS questionnaire. Okay, so finally we move to the data dashboard, which is a new function we have for the SENS website. And some of you may have already seen them before. It's a visualized data dashboard. And because we are collecting those aggregated data from you, so we are depending on you to submit those data via the Enquete link here. So just to demo a bit how to use it, because we heard before that there are some problem. So start with your contact information, and then we move to the first part of that to select the region the survey has been conducted and the country. I'm going to select the Tanzania. So for here, there is a question on, are these data cover multiple sites? So here we will have two scenarios. In some of the places, we know that you have like multiple campsites, and each campsite is big enough to have the sample for each camp, which means, for example, in Tanzania, we have 4 camps, New Nyarugusu, Old Nyarugusu, Tandeli, Duta. So all 4 camps are sampled separately. So to report the data here, we want to select camps are sampled separately, and we are going to have you to fill for each camp 1 time of this whole questionnaire. But in another scenario, which means that, for example, in Sudan, we have 3 different camps, Shagarab, 1, 2, 3, but they are all combined for sampling. So, which means that you could use camps are combined for sampling, and you only have to submit 1 data set for them. And then you just choose which camp it is the data is for. And the year after them. All right, so we come back to the data dashboard. Just I know we are late, a bit late on the timing, so I just quickly go through how to navigate through this. It's very straightforward. basically is choosing the region and the country you would like to see them. You can find how many survey has been done throughout the years. And for here, this live chart here, you could track. Let me just randomly choose a country. And you can track how this campsite has been evaluated throughout the year on the GAM and stunting. For example, for Kiziba, here you can see that, okay, it starts from the GAM of 3.2%, and then the next year it has been improved on GAM and slightly on stunting, but then the year following after, the GAM has increased, but the stunting decreased a little bit. So basically that's how it works. And for the other, each module, we have a separate dashboard for each, which means you can basically have the similar map and the bar chart, pie chart, as well as the trend to be summarized on this page. Therefore, you can just choose the region, the country you are interested in, and make a screenshot to be included in your report or slides, something like that. And you are just feel free to comment and share your thoughts by emailing to us, like what type of chart you'd like to see, and whether you want to do want to develop similar chart for your survey as well. We can provide support together with Katon J. Okay, so I will just stop here. You just feel free to play with that after then. And I don't know whether Fanny, you have more to say?
No, I was reviewing the questions. We have some very interesting questions for section 6.
Yes, we have a lot of very interesting questions and discussions have been raised by our colleagues.
Yeah. So, okay, let me see if I can quickly share my screen. We go back to the PowerPoint presentation just to finish this session. So we're now at the end of the third training session on SENS V3 update. Sorry, it's now almost 3:40. We are on late, but if you want you are encouraged to play with the data dashboard. It was a very quick presentation of the data dashboard, but now later you can go to the SENS website and play again with the data dashboard and look at different indicators for different modules. So the next session 4 next week, will focus on the new SENS questionnaire, so the demographic questionnaire, the household questionnaire, the child and the woman questionnaire, but this time in Excel format. This session will be presented by Katon J and will mainly be focused on how to adapt the SENS questionnaire to the context of your survey before to transfer them to the smartphones. So session 4 is planned for next Wednesday on October 28th at the same time. Many thanks for your attention. We'll review your question and try to answer to all of them during session 6 during Q&A session. Just before to end this webinar, I would like to remind you that we are going to send a link for a short post-training assessment about what we have seen during the 3 first webinars of this series. So please take a few minutes to respond to this small assessment. Then we could deliver the certificate of attendance for only the first topic. And Ochen will share the link by email, and maybe you have already shared the link in the chat box for the evaluation. So please just take a few minutes to do the assessment. Okay, Ochi, you want to add something? No? Okay. Thank you everyone, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye. Look.